Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 196. This show is about anything and everything related to the Destiny franchise. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we're surprised with the return of a special nanite cocktail in the 0 Hour quest. Bungie shakes things up with new timing for next season's raid, and we end things abruptly due to a visit from Trevor. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT and CyborgSasquatch. Hello, friend.
Hello, Guardian friend guy.
How are you, buddy?
Host friend, co-host friend.
Friend. Haven't seen each other in real life in a while, friend.
It's been a little while, huh?
It's going to be even longer.
It's been like
I'll see you at Guardian Con this year.
It's almost been 2 years since I've seen you in person.
It has, yeah. We haven't hugged it out in a while, man.
I might have to go take a little trip or something up to St. Louis.
Yeah. We'll go to a Cardinal game.
Hang out. Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
It'd be fun. Be a good time. I just went last night.
I don't think I've ever been to a pro baseball game.
Oh, dude. It's so fun, man. We'll get you a $12.50 hot dog and fry combo. And they say
it's like a pro.
Oh, yeah. It's,
facilities.
It's a jumbo hot dog, but it looks just slightly bigger than a normal hot dog that you get in an 8-pack at the grocery store.
Still costs about 8 cents to make.
Exactly. It's good though, man, because it tastes great, and you're at the ballpark. It's such a good environment.
Oh yeah,
you should totally do it. That'd be fun. It's
part of the experience. When I go to LSU football games, they're called Tiger Dogs.
Very nice,
and they're delicious.
It's a fresh experience I'm trying to sell you on, because like I said, I just went last night. So
do they sell peanuts and Cracker Jacks?
Oh yeah, and you can get them on the way in for way cheaper. As long as you don't open them, you can take them into the stadium. So
really, they'll let you bring stuff in like that?
Yep. That kind of stuff. As long as you don't.
I'm used to getting frisked on the way into the stadium because they want to make sure nobody's bringing in alcohol.
Right.
Which they are. But there's ways,
Yeah, people always figure out ways.
Yeah, the people are clever. Anyways, we'll work on planning that trip off.
Yeah, dude, that'd be fun. That'd be a good time.
Let's do a show about Destiny.
Yeah, it's been a pretty hot week in Destiny. I've been keeping up with it. The news part of it, but not the actual playing of it. So I'm anxious to hear some of your takes on some things this week, buddy.
Yeah, a little unexpected surprise this week. It's funny, we're talking about if and when we would get anything else this season. And sure enough, and the timing totally makes sense, right?
It does.
Some of the stuff's been out for a little bit. There was still like a month left in the season. They couldn't just let there just be dead air.
Nope. I know we've mentioned a couple times on the show, like you were just talking last week, I think, about that. If we're getting another exotic, maybe, who knows? And then I mentioned Whisper of the Worm type thing again, and there you go.
So some cool stuff to talk about this week. But first, maybe just one announcement.
Yes, Cyborg. I mean, you're somewhere else in the digital world this week, aren't you gonna be?
That's right. Yes. I have uploaded myself into the internet. You can now just download me directly into your brain, and I'll be there all the time.
All the cyborg you can get.
Just kidding. I did a cool guest spot on a friend of ours' show. If you remember Dan Finity, who is a content creator and streamer, and he's also on the Planet Destiny podcast and does content for them. He has a cool show called Side Quest Sunday that I love, and it's a lot of fun. And he has your favorite creators on to talk. You get a little personal, and it's fun. And so he invited me to come on and talk with him, and I was very humbled and proud to do so. And that episode is live now. It came on Sunday the 12th. Of May, so you can go check that out if you're interested, or if you just hate hearing my voice and prefer AER0KNIGHT. I can't help you.
I don't know, man. I didn't mention it at the top of the show, but I'm sure they've already noticed I sound nasally again, and it probably will get worse over the next hour. So I don't know if they want to listen to me either. So we might have already lost some listeners.
Arrow's sick again, and the poison that I've been administering weekly is starting to take its toll. He won't be with us much longer.
Oh, this is news to me, man. I thought I was fighting it off pretty well, but I didn't realize you were continuously giving it to me.
Yeah, at this point, you're in too deep, and there's nothing you can do, so I can really just put it all out in the open.
Who's coming on next?
It's just gonna be me. Hubris got the best of me.
Oh man,
I'm kidding. I'm getting
Destiny,
better. You need a fire team or at least a buddy. It's just not as good solo.
For sure.
Anyways, so catch me with Dan Finity on SideQuest Sunday. And even if you don't want to listen to my episode, his season 2 of the show is starting this week, and he had a bunch of really, really cool people that I love on his show last year, and you can go check that out. A lot of content creators in the Destiny community and from other parts of the gaming and media community that you can check out. And Dan does a great job of getting to know these people, having fun with them. He's got some cool segments and stuff. A really popular one is called 5-Minute RPG. It's at the end of every show. And I was privileged enough to start this season's 5-Minute RPG by creating a character that everyone else has to go with the rest of the season.
Oh, that's awesome.
I probably did a terrible job.
Oh, well.
Go check it out.
Dan's got such a great laugh, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Contagious.
The man's infectious.
Yep.
I just love hanging out with him. He did agree he would come back on the show soon enough.
Yes, very cool.
So we'll see him again.
Got to do that.
And that is all the announcements today.
For today. This reset.
This week at Bungie, we're going to talk about the news. This week at Bungie, Trevor was waiting for you. It was really funny. I was playing this with one of my buddies last night. We were helping him get through this new mission, and he hadn't seen anything like detail wise of the mission, and me and my other friend were ahead of him and had gotten to the final arena of this mission, and he was at the maze, and we were both just like giggling like schoolgirls. And we were like, we can't wait till you meet Trevor. And he's like, is this real? Like, what is Trevor? I don't understand. We're like, you'll see. So we're just like a few minutes later, he's just like, what? Oh God, what? Oh no. What was that? We're like, that's Trevor. And we're like, what is he? No one knows.
I know I've like watched a lot of it. I kind of hinted early on in the show here that I haven't actually done it myself yet. I just haven't been able to play this week a lot. But it didn't stop me from going out there. I'm sure there's still stuff that I haven't seen or I'm not aware of yet until I fully experience it myself. But it was definitely fun to watch it transpire and then go watch, people's experiences through the content and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. So if you don't know what we're talking about, the mission 0 Hour is live now. Not necessarily a dungeon, but a similar mission and activity in format to the Whisper of the Worm quest. If you're familiar with that, something that went live. There was a item to find out in the wild to start it, to initiate the quest, and then you had to complete some objectives that eventually led you to find an interesting new friend in the farm of all places, which I loved.
Yeah, that's great.
Which spoilers a little bit here if you haven't caught on to some of this stuff, but I feel like this stuff gets in the lexicon so fast that I can't not talk about the details of this. So
right.
If you want to experience all of this totally blind and on your own, stop listening now. That's all I can tell you. But so the new Fallen character is interesting, and I was really excited to see him. His name is Mithrax. And if you've been reading the lore, since Forsaken dropped, he's not new to you. In this Fallen, if you know anything, do you know anything about Mithrax, Sarah?
Some, not. It doesn't sound like enough. Actually,
maybe not enough. So you first meet Mithrax, unbeknownst to the player, in Destiny 2 proper. And Mithrax was a Fallen that was trying to... All right, forgive me because I don't remember the exact details of the quest, but there's a quest mission as part of, I think, as part of the Rat King original quest. And the mission, you're trying to get like this server node or something interesting, some MacGuffin, right? And you end up, there's like a Hive Knight and then the Fallen at the same time are trying to get it. And you end up in this room with this Hive Knight and this Fallen Captain duking it out. And the option is presented where you can kill both of them or you can let one of them live. I think you end up having to kill the Hive Knight, but you can let the Fallen Captain live. Mm-hmm. And he'll just peace out if you let him live. Like, he'll just be like, all right, cool, you're cool, thanks. And he'll just like go the other way. Well, that Fallen is Mithrax. And the interesting thing is they kind of built on this character in the lore with the drop of Forsaken, and come to find out he has allied himself with a warlock and a hunter into like a pseudo fire team. And his objective now is to start a new fallen house called the House of Light that will ally itself with the Guardians and the Traveler to fight alongside us.
Wow, that's cool.
I mean, have we not been asking for this?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you not amused? So Mithrax is like a big deal. And he's shown up in the game, and this is amazing as part of this quest. And so everybody who's familiar with the character is kind of fanboyed out about it right now,
right?
And excited that he's shown his face.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Anyways, that was my.
I remember that. I remember the aspect
out
of the Fallen. I remember seeing that at some points, but I haven't read much of the lore since Forsaken on that particular character. That's cool though.
He just pops up here and there, and there's like a few entries. I wish I could remember exactly what they're on, but he shows up in a few different places, just mentioned, in like both like as a character in a story that's told, and then like brought up in other ways and stuff. So it's kind of cool because it seems like this is a character that might stick around. We might see developed,
right? Yeah,
in some way. Anyways, so this mission, you're trying to go get into some Siva nonsense because the House of Devils have surfaced once again, and they're led by this fallen character called Eramis that escaped from the prison of elders when that kind of went to badness recently. And they are trying to get a hold of some Siva for obvious reasons, right? Because the Siva's kind of some good stuff, right, for anybody to have. And come to find out, the Cryptarchs didn't destroy it all. Uh-oh. Master Rahul has been up to some nonsensory, if you will, some tomfoolery. So it's all their fault. So so you're going to the original tower, dude. How amazing!
Yeah, that was cool,
that.
Man. I knew when we chatted this week, because like I said, I wasn't able to jump into it yet. That I would feel a little behind on it, but I've watched enough, dude, that like I've seen that scene and I'm like, wow, that is cool. I can't wait to have some time to get in
that. I'm like,
yeah,
are you kidding me? And it was really clever too, just from the standpoint of like them reusing this asset, you know, that we had for just, you know, one mission and Destiny 2 at the launch, and we haven't gone back. Now, on one hand, are you telling me that in like 2 years they haven't at least cleaned up the rubble? Like, I see cranes up there, but I'm willing to suspend disbelief for the mission.
Yeah, it's like, get some sweeper bots up there.
It's also kind of scary, though, that they're landing fallen walkers within eye shot of where our current tower is.
Right. That's
like, hey,
a little nerve-wracking.
You might want to do something about that.
Don't worry about the drifter so much.
Yeah, feeling like we might be a little distracted here in the tower lately. So we got this cool timed mission that eventually will land you Outbreak Perfected, not Outbreak Prime.
Right.
Outbreak Perfected.
You got it right the first
awesome
time.
Because back in Rise of Iron, it was like people would predict that one day you would have Outbreak Perfected instead of Outbreak Prime, and sure enough, there it is.
There you go.
And oh my gosh, this gun is so good.
And that's another thing that I immediately was watching in my feeds was the. Now I'm gonna go straight to it, but you can tell about PvE. The PvP, dude, holy smokes,
dude! In all activities, shreds. It is like just wicked, man. This thing has like no recoil, awesome range. Like, I was reading, the cool guy was talking about it on Twitter. He's saying like there's definitely some hidden perks here, because this just doesn't like do what the stat sheets should say.
Right.
And then on top of that, you can get a catalyst and make it better.
Yep.
Even better. The coolest thing that I like about this is in a PvE setting. So it stacks damage in a similar way to Rat King, that as opposed to the original, when you're in the original version, if you got precision kills, you would get the nanites to proc.
Right.
Okay. In this version, if you are just doing precision damage, the nanites proc. So if you have a fire team or just multiple people doing this, you start to get this damage bonus, and it is pretty substantial. It is very substantial. We tried it last night on what is the Scourge of the Past boss called? I can't remember, but the final boss on Scourge, and it was melting, man. It was a good time.
Plus, it's a beautiful gun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very pretty. I've always liked the aesthetic. It's a good pulse. People are already crying about it, using it in the Crucible.
Oh yeah, I know, and it comes at such an interesting time, because I have the exact rolled blast furnace. I mean, it took me a while to get it, but and then I'll talk about it more in Reset. But I can't remember how much I talked about it last week, but I've been running Arbalest and really enjoying it. That NLB aspect you told me about. We'll talk about that later. But now I'm like, man, if this thing shreds this much, because I've been jumping back into Crucible, I kind of had locked down what I thought my favorite loadout would be right now. But yeah, after seeing this thing, I don't know. It's going to mix it up a bit. Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely want to get a hold of it. It's pretty nasty in the Crucible as well, because of that just lack of recoil, man. It's so precise.
Right.
And I think it's cool because we haven't seen much of a pulse meta in a little while, you know? I feel like it's been since
Merwin. Like, maybe a little after that.
Well, I mean, there was a little while, and you know, D2. Vigilance Wing was pretty strong
you're right.
for a while, right?
Vigilance Wing was pretty potent.
Or
I'm going way back.
Emperor, what's the Leviathan pulse?
Oh yeah. Inaugural address.
Yes.
That thing
was very good.
Excellent.
But I think this might bring some pulses back. I'm bringing pulses back. That's what OP is singing. And the gun is literally acronymed OP. I mean, come on.
Right.
Come on, guys. But it's so pretty. So I was just so excited that this mission showed up. And I think it's very cool that they added some layers on top of it. There's a heroic version. And if you complete the heroic version, that unlocks the catalyst. And then by completing it, you can get catalyst percentage. Or there's this other totally different puzzle that you can complete. And we don't even totally know what that is going to lead to, because it seems like similar to the Whisper quest, you'll have to do it on 3 different weeks.
Right.
Because it says there's like a void, solar, and arc configuration. So it could change, or you could do the same thing every week, but it's very like complex. You have to go through the mission, pick up all these key cards and do this thing, and then you have to go do this puzzle that requires a spreadsheet, a literal spreadsheet, to compute like the correct keys to go to. You have to do this one thing 49 times.
Right.
Like, good night, man. I don't know. Like, I want to do it, but I don't think I'm going to get to it this week. I'm just going to try to get the heroic complete to get the catalyst unlocked. So maybe next week I can get together with a couple of buds that have time and try to go do this thing, because it's involved.
Yeah, I'm hoping to jump in tonight or tomorrow night and actually complete the first part of it. I remember doing it the first night, that day Whisper of the Worm dropped. So
oh yeah,
I'm anxious to get in here and have some fun.
I honestly think this mission is easier than Whisper.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's easy, but what I have noticed is like, so it's really cool. There's a platforming aspect of it, and that is all about like efficiency and getting through there as quick as you can, right? And like hitting your mark. And I would say like it is less punishing, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
In the Whisper quest, like there's areas and it's just punishing, right? And then you have the other big thing that they changed that I really appreciate is you don't have this 30-second respawn timer or 15 or 45. Like, it's just a 5-second respawn timer until I think through the whole fight. That might change on heroic. I'm not confident because I haven't done that. But at least on normal, if you die, it's not a huge deal. Like, you're not waiting a long time, right?
Yeah.
So I going through it, the jumps are not terrifyingly like complex and punishing to land. And I just felt like it was more straightforward to get through. It's, it still requires like some concentration and a little bit of skill and luck, but it's not like every section is just like, I don't know. I remember trying to master Whisper. Took me a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, dude.
I already have this puzzle mostly down,
Really? Yeah,
I mean,
Whisper, dude. I remember the night it came out. Well, part of it, was the patrol headache, but
yeah.
We ended up, we almost had it. You know how it goes at like 1, 2 in the morning, and then we just kept at it until like 4:30, and it was our last. This was our last one. This is it, and we did finally barely beat it. But yeah, from what I can see, like you were saying, this one maybe not quite as much that, but it's still just as much as far as excitement and buzz in the community for sure.
Yeah, in anything that you're timed on, like you're going to have that pressure.
Right.
I just feel like I think they tested it well and balanced it well so that it's just not so punishing like the Whisper mission was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing it at, I think it was like 697 on the character I was doing it on, and I think the mission's at 690. So I wasn't like terribly overpowered or anything. I remember Whisper being a little bit underpowered. The fight just being a really like a slog,
Mm-hmm.
This isn't quite so bad, but it's still challenging and it's still fun. And it still took us, you know, a number of attempts to get through it the first time. And
is
then,
is it soloable or is it?
It is. You can do it, and I've
Yeah.
seen people do it. And one of my friends actually like almost did it himself this week solo.
Nice.
He was like, I think he said he just had like a little bit of the boss's health left when he ran out, so he was pretty close. I think he could pull it off if he optimizes everything. But
Right. Yeah.
well, like last night we brought one of my friends through. I think I was telling you about this before the show, and he was only like 650 on the character he could access it on. So we basically two-manned it to
Very
get
nice.
through it all.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's doable.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. It's fun when it's a challenge. People like to be able to try and solo it if it's possible. Of course, that's the Destiny community. But then to be able to take your friends in, that was a big thing about Whisper. That was cool too. What was that way back in the day that we even had a? Remember when we had a post up on our group page to help people? What was that? That was in D. I thought that was in D1. It was the Tannic Strike. What was that, dude?
Oh, the Black Spindle mission.
Yeah, that's what it was. Of course, duh.
That's what it was for, right?
It makes complete sense. Yeah, I remember the community just eats that stuff up, dude. Bungie knows it, you know, and obviously they timed this excellently, like you said, but they try to get this stuff in here. I definitely would like to see it more, but it was just so cool even way back with that, you know, like we had a forum post up on our group page, you know, it was like, let the Dirt Fam know, anybody in the Dirt Fam, if you need help getting this thing. It's just, it's exciting. It's fun. And then to see it unravel, like that's the start of it all. And then we saw some of the devs too, Lars and some of them were saying like they tried their hardest to keep this like under wraps until it dropped. Like, I just can't imagine like being anxious about that, because the Destiny community is so good at figuring stuff out before it's even live in the game.
Well, the one thing they did do that I appreciated was I believe they didn't put this in the game. The assets until the reset, you know, with the patch.
Right.
So at least we didn't know way ahead of time. You know, it was data mined pretty quickly, like happens when the patch came through, but then it was live and people found it pretty fast.
Yeah, because I remember seeing, of course, a video instantly of the data mine, and they're like, well, look at this catalyst. Looks like we might be getting a certain gun. And this was, a very early video in the day. Before things started to get figured out.
Yeah. There is rumors there were some data mines of some catalysts for newer exotic weapons. I don't know when we'll get those.
Heard that as
maybe
well. Yeah,
they're live. I would think they would tell us, but maybe we'll get them live with this coming season or something.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully, because some of those others like Suros I mentioned before, those were in the database for a long time before we got them. So yeah, hopefully a little sooner.
Yeah, some of these guns don't need to get much better.
Right. Yeah.
We're listed.
Coming off of the Revelry, though, with obviously not our guns, but our abilities being so strong, dude. I guess not so strong, but so usable so often. It definitely it makes even the current climate of the potency of everything in Destiny 2 seem a little less potent coming off the Revelry.
That's true. That's true. My grenade abilities felt very inconsequential after the Revelry ended.
It's crazy though. I mean, whether it's in PvE or PvP, and maybe some Guardians would say in certain areas, still not as much in PvE, but definitely in the Crucible, dude. It's way more potent of an environment than it was when D2 launched, of course. So, yeah, for sure, getting weapons like this and I don't know, dude, getting these catalysts that you can just do some crazy stuff these days.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you think about the 0 Hour mission and Outbreak Perfected. It's been pretty fun for us this week. Love to hear what you guys in the community think. Let us know. Next up, we get a little preview of some information for Season of Opulence, specifically having to do with the raid. So June 4th kicks off the Season of Opulence, which is not too far, just weeks away. And they are changing how the raid that comes with that content will launch. So if you own the annual pass, you'll be challenged to conquer a new raid on day 1. And they mention this is a message from the dev team. The world's first race for a raid is a competitive event. The raid is a challenge geared towards testing a fire team's ability to learn and execute on the mechanics, as well as their ability to overcome enemies and bosses together. Having a short window of time between release and launch allows us to preserve the combat challenge for players making their attempt on day 1 and get people playing the raid content right away. So we've got a name of the raid, Crown of Sorrow, and it launches June 4th at 4 p.m. Pacific with a recommended power for first encounter 715. They mention there's a few changes to investment systems to ensure an even playing field while players are increasing their power. So the Last Wish and Scourge of the Past raids will be unavailable until Crown of Sorrow has been beaten. They mention this prevents players with ethereal key stashes from having a leg up in the race. Also, Prime attunements will be reset to 2 charges per character on day 1. So because you can build this up over time, it's going to prevent people from getting more than 2 prime engrams, I believe, per, let's see, after signing in and playing.
Is it per play session or per reset, you think? It should be.
I'm thinking per, it's either going to be per day or per reset.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. They don't. They will be reset to 2 charges per character. It may work the same from there, but if, for instance, if you hadn't played on a character or you hadn't gotten one to drop for a long time and your prime attunement may have stacked, so that you could get, multiple on a play session more than you would normally, it's going to reset it so that it would be 2 per character upon logging in after the season ends. It's kind of a weird mechanic that we don't totally understand still, so that's all I could tell you. It says players may continue to build prime attunements over time after the reset occurs. So it sounds like it's just kind of resetting your attunement stack, and then from there, it's kind of back to normal.
Right. Interesting.
So that way you don't have the ability to get like 5 prime engrams or something crazy, right? Or you can't go farm them, doing some weird stuff, I guess.
For sure, yeah.
So it sounds like a big part of their goal is to level the playing field in terms of preventing some weird tricks to power level before the raid.
Right.
That give people a big leg up on competition for world's first. We've never had a raid launch on day 1, I don't believe. It's typically either been the Friday after, or in the case of original Destiny VOG was like a month after, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm very interested to hear your take on this because I know you had strong feelings about Last Wish when it came out and what how that power level grind factored in with the new how it takes a little bit longer now. But a big critique over the years has been many Guardians. It seems like in the community weren't fans of 3 days after release, or whatever, Tuesday launch and then Friday raid, just because it wasn't a ton of time and you felt like you had to rush and grind. You'd think they're releasing it the day of would not be a great direction, but with the things that they've done alongside it and the power level requirement and stuff like that, they're obviously, like you said, trying to make it more, maybe less cheesable as far as power grind and more accessible, accessible to more maybe. But I'm interested in your take on this, man. You're the raider of the two of us. And again, I remember listening to your feedback on some of the raid races in previous, last couple we've gotten. So what do you think? What's your take?
Yeah, my biggest complaint in the past has been, I guess in the most recent past, has been accessibility, especially with Last Wish. It was not as accessible because of the power delta placed on the activity and the time it took to get there. This seems like they're trying to cover both bases, both in ensuring an even playing field going into it from a competitive standpoint, but then also the power level. By doing that, it seems like they lowered the overall power level for the raid to something that's more accessible. 715 isn't too bad. Typically, like if you're really grinding and let's say you just kind of have an average luck, like you'll get, 10 power out of a character in a week.
Right.
On the old system, you could probably do a lot more now because there's so many sources, and they're not mentioning really tuning any of that. I mean, it doesn't mean they couldn't, but yeah, you could like with a week or with like, a good portion of a reset, you could get to 715 on a character. But this is, 4 hours. Let's see. They launch usually, 10 a.m. Pacific. So this is 6 hours after reset, assuming everything comes out smooth and on reset, the activities are available. You basically got 6 hours to go and go through whatever content prerequisites there are, right? We don't know what we're doing this season.
Right.
We don't know what the activities are. Black Armory, we knew we had Forges, and then Gambit, we have Reckoning and Gambit Prime, and those were all prerequisites as part of the activities. So who knows what you'll have to get into to start the season and get access to the raid. But you'll have stuff to do, and so you'll be pretty busy, and I'd be surprised if anybody hit 715 going into it. But if you can get to like 705,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's
probably be in okay shape.
Right, yeah. Like, where do you think the entry point is? At least maybe for the first encounter or two.
You usually want to be within 10, but even within 15, like you can go in if you are smart. Right. And you'll probably be able to do that encounter. 15 off isn't bad, and most people aren't going in at just 700 if they're going to try this, right? I guess the big question is how many encounters are there, and how far are they going to scale? Is it going to end at 725?
Right.
35? Is it going to end at 740? And how good are the drops going to be? Where are you going to be when you get to that end boss? There's a lot that we just don't know. But I'm going to say, I'm open-minded to this. I'm also interested to see if there's more to it than just having it available at launch for the sake of trying this something new. Like,
right.
Another podcaster, Paris, does Gamertag Radio, had put up a tweet, stating he was not too into this change, and Deej had replied to him and said, well, thanks for the feedback. We're going to detail some of the other stuff for the season coming up, and I'm interested to know what you think after that. And it made me wonder, what else are we doing this season? And maybe there's a thematic reason why the raid is first. Maybe the raid sets up the other activities that we're doing, and it wouldn't make sense to hold that off for, 3-4 days. Because you remember the Forge, like the first Forge in Black Armory,
right.
It didn't launch right away, right? I think there was a couple days before we got access to it. And it just felt like things were drug out, and then you couldn't even do it. Maybe that was it. Like you couldn't even get powerful enough to access it and do it right away either. So you just couldn't do the new content. And maybe this is also like part of them considering, okay, like we need for people to be able to open everything up and get into stuff right away. And if the raid is a big part of that this season, you know, why would you want to hold that out? So we'll see.
Right.
See how it goes.
No, it's very true. I mean, how long has it been? They haven't really, even with community feedback, and maybe it's never been, you know, enough of the community that wants it. But they've never really tweaked a lot with raid releases. You know, they've toyed with a little here and there. But for them to do it here, you know, you could be onto something with that. The other little thing, though, that is nice about this is you can, of course, they even mention, I think, in here about, you know, it being 4 weeks out. Put your day on your vacation calendar at work. It's nice to have this because if you want to take a day off, you don't have to take multiple days if you don't want to, or the day the season starts and then multiple days to get prepped for that Friday for the raid, or you don't have to take that day and Friday. You know what I mean? You can take a day or two off right together there, knowing that it's going to launch the same day. So,
and
you know, there's that little pieces.
But then I've also heard people saying, well, why does it have to be that way that people have to take days off of work to do this? Like,
very true.
Why can't this release on a weekend? Or why can't this be, you know, 2 weeks after the season starts or the activity starts?
Yeah, that's always a classic one. Yeah. Give us a couple weeks to prep.
And I've felt that way at some points, like for the bigger releases like Forsaken. But at the same time, they also try to tie these thematically into stuff, and that doesn't always make sense. So there's a lot to juggle there. And I kind of see a lot of different angles on this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'd rather have time and be able to do it. I'd rather be able to do it, you know, the first day on a weekend, but I don't know. You can't make everybody happy. Then I'm hearing the, you know, EU Guardians are upset because of when it launches is in a really bad time for them.
Oh, right.
You know? So you can't, like, I don't think there's a way they can make everybody happy about this. But I think it's a good time for them to experiment as opposed to trying to do this with a major content release. This is a good time for them to see, okay, well, how does this go? And is the experience good for people? Like going into this activity at this power and, you know, how many people go in and attempt it? Like, what do the numbers look like? Do we get more people engaged? Like that would be a win, you know, because really you're talking about like 10% of Destiny players raid, if that. It's a real focal activity and a pinnacle activity, but we're really not talking about the biggest part of the population. So I think they're trying to look at the lowest common denominator. But my hesitation is always like, does it always have to be about the race? You know, I get that that's fun. It's fun for the people doing it. It's fun for the people watching. It's fun for the Bungie team. But that's one moment for that activity that is not, that's not what it's all about, you know?
Yeah. And I often wonder, like, if the way Destiny is structured and built, if that causes some of these things. And, you know, and then I quickly follow that thought, like, it really, I don't know how, you know, Destiny is definitely kind of unique with the power level and this or that, you know, compared to other games. And does that create some of these issues for themselves with content releases like this? But, you know, like you said, no matter what they do, you know, there's always, I mean, this week's a prime example. I've had a crazy week at work. I am fighting another sinus infection, and I have not had a moment, you know, to where I wanted to have, you know, be able to have time to jump in and do 0 hour, the new thing. And it just happens, you know, and I know this stuff's a little bit more structured. You know, the raid has been kind of a topical thing every time it comes out and how it's released and this or that. But you're exactly right. Everybody's got valid points, you know, per their play style and preference and play availability. And it's, you know, trying to cater to all that is I'm sure
Yeah.
can be a challenge.
We
How do you
can't
do
have
it?
it all. We can't all have it our way.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody is going to have to give on some part of it.
Right. Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't know. It seems like this is, maybe there's something else going on here, like you said, but you know, this seems like it's worth a shot just to see how it feels for people. You do have a really good point though. Like maybe too much focus is put on the raid race. I mean, that is an exciting thing. But it, like you said, like we've talked about in several episodes, even when comparing it to trials and things like that, like it is a pretty small part of the community, you know, is enough of the community get riled up to watch it and this or that, you know, to make that the focus of how raids are released. So
Yeah,
it's a good topic. Interesting.
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think you might be onto something though with that. I know you mentioned it before we hit record. Did you mention it when you were talking about it there about it maybe being, you know, with something else? Did you mention?
Yeah.
Obviously the 6-player though, the 6-player
Right.
aspect.
Yeah.
Did
So
you say-
that we know that there's supposed to be another 6-man activity, and
I
we
remember
don't
you
know
saying
what that
yeah,
is.
before. Yep.
And it's possible that the raid could set that up. That thematically it might set it up, that it could be related, and so like there might be something to this, you know?
Right.
So that's why I'm kind of like, well, let's kind of see like how this plays out, because I can't imagine them launching a new activity on the same day they're also launching the raid, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but we're going to find out more over this month of what that will look like, and maybe we won't get all the details, but we'll at least get a better idea.
Season of Opulence, man, is coming together already. Everybody's, I think, at least speaking for myself, you know, we've talked about it on the show, excited for this season, you know, as much as the others, but maybe even a little bit more, because it's like, you know, hopefully they're packing a punch for the last drop of this annual pass structure leading into the fall. We shall see.
The fall. What a big question mark.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Next up in the TWAB, we see the last announcement for Iron Banner for this season takes place starting May 14th through the 21st. They did fix a issue in the most recent update that dropped this week, where the Iron Ruby shader was not being rewarded when dismantling Iron Banner rewards. If you're looking to acquire it, you can either dismantle a reward that's already in your inventory or dismantle an Iron Banner reward next week. He's going to have the grenade launcher and hand cannon available this coming Iron Banner, and it will be the last opportunity to participate in the Iron Burden experience, if you're into that kind of punishment.
If you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It will not return, they said a couple TWABs ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will not. Maybe, just maybe, I'll play some Iron Banner.
I think I'm going to as well. I'm getting to
that
that part of
like
the season.
5 Iron Banners in a row.
I know. I did on the last one because I still haven't finished my Thorn quest, but there's just been so much to do even for this Crucible Guardian on the PvE side. Like I'm just starting to get myself back into the Crucible to do some things. So it's just too much to do, man.
You're not wrong. Of course, we got an update this week. They talk about a little in Destiny player support. Fixed a number of problems that have been ongoing. One big one was the problem with the Xur bounty that couldn't be completed, which we are now able to complete. And I completed, and then I did the next one this week, and there's some cool stuff in those Xur bounties this week. Get to hear the Drifter's real name if you haven't read it in the lore before. And then also another interesting tease. Go get caught up on those if you haven't been paying attention. There's some cool story beats.
I did actually end up getting one behind. I thought I was going to be okay, but I didn't finish the one in time. So I was hoping that little hiccup was going to catch me back up. But I, again, have not been playing as much as I normally do. And I wasn't quite finished with the one when I thought it was.
Not too bad, though. I think the last one is this coming reset. So
not too bad. Yeah.
You'll get caught up, next week or whatever if you keep doing them.
Yes.
One known issue with the 0-hour mission is that if you have already completed the mission on one character, apparently there's a bug with the reward not dropping on your secondary characters, which will then block access to the heroic version on those characters. So they want to ensure or assure you that you will get it on your first character that completes it, and that character can then move on to the heroic. In the meantime, they're working on the rest. So hang in there. Also, we mentioned this earlier, there's a requirement for the heroic mission, or not a requirement, but part of that other quest is you have to find these key cards, and they want everybody to know you need to turn off Destiny Companion features. So the Destiny Companion app, third-party apps like Ishtar Commander or DIM will cause some issues with those and pull those items out of your inventory, never to be found again. So if you're trying to do that, turn that stuff off while you're running that heroic to prevent those problems.
You do that just in your, do you have to do that manually in your settings, or you just...
No, just don't have them open.
Don't use it.
And don't use them. Okay. So I
was wondering if you had to unsync them from your profile or something.
No, I think the idea is for them not to be fetching and checking your inventory
while you're doing that,
while you're playing the mission.
Gotcha. Just wanted to clarify. I did not know that. I know. Isn't there a schematic of some sort as well?
That's a quest item for that. I think that's what starts the 0-hour quest.
Okay.
I don't know how that finishes, because after you get the weapon, you still have that. It's called a fallen transponder. And I'm thinking it could be when you finish the heroic that might close that out. I'm not positive.
Maybe not. Yeah.
But they're talking about these key cards that you have to go.
Yeah,
find.
for sure. Well, I thought and I haven't watched anything in the last day or two, but the last I saw on those key cards is that you get some sort of ship schematic after you find them all or something.
That's what it says. Well, yeah. And to complete it, that's how you have to do that puzzle.
Do that, yeah. Just interesting stuff.
No telling what the ship is.
Who knows? It'll be cool, I'm sure.
It's just going to be a big coffin with an engine. Or maybe a big Warmind vault.
Maybe that would go over well. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that would go over well. Or maybe not.
Probably not. We've got some movies of the week you should check out. World's first Riven kill solo using some revelry trickery. Definitely worth checking out. And then a fun Gambit Prime parody. If you've ever heard the Baby Shark song.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Have I ever.
They did it.
Good times, though.
Yep. There is a 4K version of a Outbreak perfected model, render, that you can pull off the TWAB if you're into that. Go check it out. It's real pretty. Very pretty. So that's the TWAB this week, and that's pretty much all the news, man.
Yeah, I mean, that one thing coupled with some other things around it was pretty exciting, but yeah, not anything else crazy going on. Just the usual.
Yep. Just another week. Another surprise.
Just another week. Always love the surprises, but with that, Cyborg, how was your reset, buddy?
Oh, man. Just grinding away at stuff. Knocked out another Triumph or 2. A couple more things for Blacksmith. Inching closer to Blacksmith.
Nice.
I think I got my team together for Flawless, possibly. And we did one of the weekly challenges we needed to do. Trying to finish up that Master Smith. Got 20 more weapons to forge. stuff like that.
Very
Got
cool.
myself a Outbreak Perfected. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, dude.
Man.
Yeah, I hope to chat more with you about it next week.
Put that with the Recluse. Oh boy.
Wow. It's funny you mentioned
dirty.
I've got well, not really a story, but something that kind of clicked with me this reset about the Recluse too, that a loadout that I kind of zeroed in on that I'm trying to obtain. But anyways, you continue.
Nice. I don't know. That's about it. You know, I got to take the week off the Crucible after my like month-long grind for the Pinnacle weapons.
Right, yeah.
Which is funny now that the Revelry is over. I don't have to go in the Crucible anymore.
I know. I did. I was just thinking that right then. Even that's pretty funny. Like people avoid it while you were jumping in.
Right. Yep. What else, man? I got to 700 with another one of my characters.
You need. I just thought you need a title or some flavor text on your gamer tag that said, "Yes, I obtained Luna's Howl during the Revelry."
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah,
Brave Guardian.
I went through that. I don't know what else, man. I just kind of just playing the stuff there is to play. I don't know. I'm still enjoying what there is to do. And got some friends to come back to some Destiny that haven't been playing for the past month. You know,
that's
jumping
always
on.
Fun.
So got to see everybody back on this week with the Outbreak Perfected quest live, and I was like, hey, let's go do a Scourge of the Past, and everybody was down. So that was fun. And there were shenanigans, and that's always enjoyable. Destiny is best served with friends.
Oh yes, friend game.
Know? Yeah. I don't know what else, man. Like nothing crazy in my reset besides that. Like trying to get my Warlock through some of the seasonal stuff for this season that I never did. So I was doing like tier 1 reckonings and stuff like that. I don't know what else. That's about it. Pretty run of the mill reset, honestly.
Yeah, you probably, spent a portion of it obviously focusing on the Outbreak Perfected stuff.
Oh yeah,
sure.
A couple nights playing with that.
Still got those nights ahead of me. Hopefully here soon.
Mm-hmm. Best of luck. It only took us like the first 2 tries was just learning the puzzle, because I had somebody bringing us through that had already done it. So he was like, all right, here's where you go. This is what you do. So we were kind of like just getting our timing down, like getting everybody through fast enough. Because the real key is just getting to the boss with enough time. The boss isn't so punishing that he's just you can't beat him. It's just having enough time to beat him. Because there's other, like you have to kill more than just the boss. You have to kill a couple fallen walkers, and you have to, I haven't gotten like a firm answer on this, but there's some other enemies you have to kill, but not all the enemies to end it. So I think it's just like anything that's an orange bar or higher has to be dead at the end of the encounter before the time runs out. So last night, one of the first times we were running the mission with our lower leveled buddy, like we finished and we had like 30 seconds left and it wasn't ending. And we're like, wait, what do we have to kill? And there was like, I think 1 enemy alive at the time. We're like, dang it. Come on.
That stinks.
It was so close. But yeah, just, run through the first couple times just with the intention of just learning the platform,
checking it out,
stuff. Yeah, getting all that down. And then by the third time, our first encounter, like we got through it and it was done. Nice. Definitely helps to be powerful enough though. You don't want to be 650 trying to.
I was gonna say, I just take my Titan main 700 in there with some stuff.
Now it can be done, because one of my friends took somebody through at like they either said 624 or 642. They were really low powered. I was like, good Lord, man. But they did it. So
it reminds me of that conversation we've had a couple times on the show in the community, obviously many times, is how PvP guardians don't mind to jump over and do what they got to do to get a potent tool for their arsenal. But, you know, it's always seems like a little bit more of a topic, you know, when the PvE guardians have to jump over to get something on the other side.
It's true, man. Like the PvP guys seem like they're okay with getting out of their comfort level.
Obviously,
more.
it's, you know, it's a noticeable difference. I mean, you can jump over and just shoot aliens in the face and feel a little more comfortable than having to shoot real guardians. But it's always still an interesting topic, though.
But it's still like it's the same idea, though. Like getting out of your comfort level is important. That's how you get better at things. And I know PvP guys that are way better at PvE than some solo PvE guys. I know.
Yeah.
So just saying.
I don't know what, maybe I hadn't thought about that all week, but something right now, just in our conversations on the show right now, just made me remember that good old conversation. Like PvP guardians won't hesitate. Like, wait, what? What is this thing doing? Like, let's go right now.
Right.
But again, you know, there's, I'm sure many listening to us right now, they're typing up an email like, well, let me explain to you why it's different. I totally get it. There's definitely differences. Like, it's not quite, I won't say easy, but it's not quite the same thing. Yeah. It's not quite the same thing to jump over and just say, well, I'm going to get Luna. It's definitely a different beast.
Well, especially
at times.
in that Destiny is a gear game, right? So like even PvP players in Destiny are used to having to go do things to chase gear, right? So it's not like entirely strange for them to have to do that, whereas there hasn't always historically been a lot of weapons that you could only get through PvP. There's some very notable ones. You know, stuff like Thorn and trying to think what else. There's a number of guns.
Maybe a more maybe a little bit closer example would be, you know, like if Thousand Voices was just an absolute must-have in the Crucible. You know, that drop rate and having to run the raid, that would be maybe something a little more similar. Some PvP guardians may not be willing to do that.
Right.
You know.
I get that.
Yeah.
And that gun is really, really good.
Yep.
So, case in point. But I know PvP guardians that have ran raids to get
over and over and over again.
Yeah. So,
what you're motivated to do.
How was your reset?
You know, man, I think I've played one evening this week. I've already mentioned I've got to get back in my normal gaming routine, dude. Like I'm not. It's not even that I'm playing Jurassic Park or. Yes, I did this reset by Civ 6 on Switch.
Yeah, I saw that. What motivated you to do that, man?
Well, I'd kind of mentioned it a couple episodes ago, just briefly, that I was either going to get Jurassic World or get Civ because I realized it was on the Switch. And I've never really played Civ, and it's always looked interesting to me, but I usually like more so like a Sim City style of simulation game versus like, you know, I call Civ more of like a board game kind of thing, and you can't really like grab one unit or 10 or 100 and move them around like wherever you want. I've always liked that kind of style more. But as I've gotten older, I've you know, leaned more into like your XComs, which isn't exactly the same thing, but Civ, long story short, just appeals to me more now than it probably ever has, and I've just never picked it up, any iteration of it. I don't think. Maybe a version on PC at some point, but I didn't put much time into it. Really what sold me on it was the Switch, man. Like, I'm always looking for something that seems like would work great with the Switch, and it just seemed like it would. I never played
Civ on Switch, but there was a version I played on iPad. I want to say it was Civ 5 that they might have optimized for iOS. It played a little bit differently than like the standard PC version. It was a little more like arcadey in a way. Anyways, Did you like actually crack into it and start playing?
I'm in the tutorial, man. Like I haven't even had, you know, an opportunity really to jump into it much. I've been, man, with my work this past couple weeks and this cold, I told you before the show, I've been crashing at like 9:30. You can't get much game time in when you crash that early.
Not really.
But I did jump into the tutorial, and I posted it on Twitter and got a lot of feedback. Nice players and guardians out there sent me some like strategies and stuff to get pointers on, and then others want to know like how it feels on the Switch, because of course, you know, it's definitely a PC. It's a great experience on PC, and from what I've watched so far, not through my own experience, but you know, some coverage that I've seen on it, you know, it's missing apparently maybe just very few menus that you might have on PC, but for the most part, all the feedback I've heard is like that it's excellent on the Switch, even the controls and all that good stuff. And I mean, they're really kind of figuring out how to do these kind of games these days on console. Even Jurassic World is, while a little bit closer to like your SimCity or Age of Empires, it feels great on console. I remember you mentioning Blue got it on PS4 because our buddy Better Off Blue, because he you know, he thought it might play well on there. And that's my goal with it, is I'm hoping the style of game it is that I can, with the Switch, just kind of pick up, play, and go. Now, everyone's telling me, it's kind of crazy what I opened up when I tweeted out that I got it. Like, I'm getting all these responses, like even from you, just one more turn. Set an alarm for you to tell yourself to go to sleep, because you'll be up all night playing it. And like, you gotta be careful. And I don't get it yet because I haven't gotten the hooks. I don't understand it enough. So I probably will at some points. But my hope is that it's like pick up and play for a little bit and get, you know, just like Switch style of game. But we'll see. It sounds like
you can definitely like it's turn based, right? So you can, you know,
try to stop at a turn.
Any point that you want. You could be the middle of a turn, you could be the end of a turn, you know, just whatever. But the problem is like, because it's a strategy game, everything is you're always thinking several turns ahead. Once you like really, you know, once you get past, you know, the very beginning setting up of a game where you like, you know, set your first city up, right? Once you get into something, you're like, okay, so this is my plan. Like, I want to, you know, try to invade, or I want to go to war, or I want to go peaceful, but you're always like thinking, okay, 20 steps down the line.
Right. Yeah.
3 turns, I'll have this unit ready and I'm going to go invade. So then you like go invade, and then that's like 100-turn war that you just got yourself into.
Oh, for sure. Everything I've seen too, man, is it seems like it's so in depth. I have so much to learn. I'm such a noob with it right now, but it's exciting. You know, have a fresh game to learn. And the Switch, it's funny. The Switch is like just a whole nother world of gaming. It seems like it doesn't interfere with like my Destiny play. Like you play it when you wouldn't normally be playing Destiny or something anyways.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's not, I don't know what it is about the Switch, at least with me. That's when I play my Switch. But yeah, so I'll keep you guys posted on that. It's always fun to fit in some other game talk. I've been playing Jurassic World. I haven't, like I said, the past week or two, but I did get a couple islands unlocked. And then of course I've fit in some Destiny play. The little bit that I have fit in the last reset was I went in as soon as the Revelry was over. Actually, you know what? I may take that back. It might have been the night before the Revelry was over. I think I did pull a cyborg and go in to competitive solo and decide I was 3 games away. I mentioned several episodes ago that we just went on a tear in comp, and I went from like, I don't even know, 400 or 500 to 1800 and one like night of play, and I was 3 games away from Fabled. And I just hopped in. I'm like, let's see what happens here. And I was running Striker Titan, dude, just throwing pulse grenades. It was before the Revelry, because I specifically remember being one of the 3 games I played was on Burning Shrine. What is it called now? I'm totally blanking on what it's called now.
I don't even remember now.
Anyways, I was on that map, dude, just jumping back and forth over B, throwing pulse grenades. I was just absolutely ridiculous. And anyways, I won boom, 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 3 games, hit Fabled, backed out, And I'm like, all right, I hit Fable. The reason I've got a new motivation, and I kind of hinted at this earlier. I don't remember how much I talked about it last week. I think I got it. But I got Arbalist, of course. And you had mentioned to me several weeks ago that people were kind of comparing it to feeling like NLB a little bit. And dude, and I think I did talk about this last week, but minus the charge, I definitely get the NLB feel from it. And I was just thinking, like, what do I want to run with this thing? What can I run with it? I was like, it's ranged. I can hit body shots from close. Again, NLB, clean them up with a hand cannon. But then I was like, I'd been running my Luna with it. Like, how about the Recluse, man? The Recluse, like that would be excellent. So I'm like, I got to get in there and get it. I need that thing. I've heard great things, and it would run awesome with that exotic. So that
probably
kinda
go well.
Yeah, a little fire under me, and I just went in and I hit Fabled. So now I just have, I think, I haven't been playing a lot of Crucible. I think I have like 35-40% left on my wins. So I'm just gonna dive in probably when Iron Banner launches, and because you get more from it, I believe, and just try to finish that off so I can try that loadout. But that's pretty much the gist of it. I'm hoping to not get another sinus infection and work maybe to slow down a little bit so I can stay up later than 9:30. I'm usually up till 1 or 2 in the morning, dude. So to like go to sleep at 9:30, 10 o'clock more than 1 or 2 nights a week. It feels like, that's 4 hours a night, dude. that usually I think we're both the same. We're night owls. It's just crazy. I got coworkers, dude. I chat, chatting with them, and they go to bed at like, they don't have kids either, and they crash at like 8:30. They're not gamers.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're not gamers. And I totally respect that, but I'm like, holy smokes, I'm up for like typically another 4 or 5 hours after that.
Right.
So, when you get sick and you need the rest and you actually start going to bed like a normal person at somewhat normal times, it's like, when am I supposed to play video games?
I know. especially when you got kids, because if you don't have kids, when you get off work and you've done dinner or you've like spent time with friends, like you normally have a little time in there before bedtime to like do what you want to do. But, for me, by the time the kids are in bed and everything's tired, like tucked away, it's 9:30.
Yep.
And
you're
that's
exhausted.
when I might still have work to do at that point.
Yep.
Or okay, I'm caught up, and this is literally the first time I've had to myself or to spend with my wife one-on-one the entire day. I don't know.
It's
life is busy, man. Life is crazy.
It is busy, dude. You try to, you want to slow it down, but it's even like my busiest days at work, like when you get home, man, with kiddos, and not to say people aren't busy otherwise, but just speaking from my own experience, like you're just saying, it's just as busy, if not busier, like when you get home, dude. And it's a blast. It's an absolute blast, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong, but you get home, you do the little routine, like right when you get home, then you do dinner, then you play for a little while, then you do bath, then you do bed. And like you said, before you know it, it's 9:30. It's all a good time, but it's you're steady. And then
you're never
if
without an obligation or something you should be doing right then,
And if you can get yourself back up after the coziness, putting your kiddos to bed, then it's like, all right, spend some time with your wife, and then try to fit in a couple hours of game time, but not too much because you'll be exhausted the next day.
Yep.
The life planning, man, daily planning. Anyways, yeah. So, when sinus infections work their way into all that, I'm like ready to be done with this seasonal stuff.
I don't blame you at all, man.
Yeah.
Make sure you get sleep that off so you can get over it quicker and actually get some rest,
At least this, I hope this week. I think the last time I had one, we had Mylan on, and I went from like a nasal sounding level of 3 to like 9 by the time the show was about to wrap up.
Yeah, I remember. You're not that bad this week. You're pretty bad off that week. That was a tough one. You slogged it through.
That's too funny.
Well,
anyways, man, yeah, that's been my
reset.
reset.
Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to come back with a new weapon to talk about next week.
I hope so. Yeah, I'll be a little behind, but it'll still be fun. I'll be a little bit more in tune. Hopefully next reset.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, this is normally the part of the show where we have some Dirt Fam discourse. We don't have anything super new to talk about this week in that arena, but it's up to you, Guardian. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to send us your discourse. So if you would like to ask us a question about something, Destiny or otherwise related, or if you would like to sound off on something we talked about on the show, or finally, we love to hear your stories about great things, positive things other Guardians are doing in the community. Send them our way. You can send us an email, destinyresetpodcast@gmail.com, or send us a speakpipe, speakpipe.com/destinyreset.
There you have it.
There you have it. Do we have any new patrons to shout out this week?
We don't this week. I want to say we still have one or two that are pending that have been for quite some time. So as always, check your Patreon messages, Guardians, if you're supporting us. We appreciate it. We want to give you that shout out. But no fresh new ones this reset. But of course, thanks to all the patrons, Dirt Fan patrons.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Week after week, month after month, our patrons continue to support us. If you don't know what a patron is, go to patreon.com/destinyreset, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the production budget of our show. And if you do so, you get a couple perks. You get a shout out on the show, you get your gamer tag on our website, and you get an invitation to a Discord channel just for our Dirt Fam patrons and supporters.
It's a good time.
Yep. Thanks again to everyone who is supporting us.
Yes.
All right, Arrow, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at AER0KNIGHT with a 0. What about you, man?
Awesome. You can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter. You can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter or on the web, www.destinyresetpodcast.com. That's your source for all things DRP, including links to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app of choice.
There you have it.
Speaking of, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and you haven't left us a review yet, please do. I know we've got at least one new one this week, right?
Yeah, we got a new one from Snorri Cakes. It was a great review. I was afraid it was going to, with Snorri in the title, maybe we were a little too chill and laid back, but no, it was a great review. Found our podcast, and it's always exciting. We've mentioned it a couple weeks in a row, or a few weeks now, getting some new listeners over our way, and it's awesome. It's really cool to welcome these new Guardians. Got to join the Dirt Fam if you haven't yet. It's a good time.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I feel like it wasn't too long ago we were talking about, oh yeah, we're almost at 200 reviews. Mm-hmm. Well, we are approaching 300.
You're right. We are. That's crazy.
On Apple Podcasts. And that is amazing. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please go leave us a review, even if it's just some stars. If you don't have anything cool to say, or if you do have something cool to say and you want to leave us some feedback on the show, we do appreciate it. We do read these. We get your vibes. We get the energy, and it sustains us.
It does.
You leave us these awesome reviews.
We appreciate it.
And your constructive feedback is helpful too. So please do.
Thank you, Guardians.
All right, man. I think we can call that a show.
I feel like I can get a little bit closer to you, Zavala, whenever I have a sinus infection, but
go. What you got? Go.
I can't, dude. I just barely felt cool like Cyborg right there for a second, but it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Got to get out of your comfort zone.
You say Guardian. Let's hear yours, Zavala.
Guardian. What are you doing here, Guardian?
See, I got work to do, man. I can't do it.
Look, you got to do what I do.
I'll try.
Spend at least an hour a day doing voices in the mirror. That's what it takes.
We need to bring back the cyborg quotes at the end, man. At least one every now and then.
Maybe for some upcoming episodes.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got a milestone coming up. Speaking of milestones. All right.
Yep.
That's it. That's a wrap.
All right.
Until next reset, have fun playing Destiny 2, and take care, Guardians.